Have you ever wondered where we were before we come into Earth as humans? Well, before becoming human, souls lived in a place called the waiting room. It wasn't like heaven or hell. It was just white space with no sound, no time, no pain. In the waiting room, everything looked soft and endless, like a sky with no ceiling. No cold, no hunger, just souls floating, glowing, thinking. But there was one rule: every soul must choose a life. In that place, souls watch people on earth like TV shows. They could see families, countries, good moments, bad ones. But the hardest part, once you picked, you had to forget everything about being a soul and your previous life. That's why it was scary. You'd forget why you came, who you were before, and what you wanted to learn. Among the many souls was Daisy. She was quiet. She didn't rush like the others. While many souls quickly picked rich families or pretty cities, she sat and watched for days, maybe years. There was no time there, so no one could tell. There were two types of souls in the waiting room. The first timers who are fresh souls who had never been born before and they had no say in anything. They were assigned random lives and dropped like seeds in soil. No questions asked, no complaints allowed. But then there were the returners, souls who had lived once, twice, some even 10 times. These ones could choose where to go, who to be born to, what country to enter. And Daisy, she was a returner. In her last life, Daisy had died in an accident. She came back to the waiting room, carrying something heavy. Not guilt, not regret, but anger. The other returners were rushing to choose wealthy homes, safe countries, smiling mothers with big kitchens and backyards. But Daisy didn't move. She stood still in the wide mist of the waiting room, arms crossed, eyes sharp, because Daisy wasn't just looking for comfort, she was looking for position. She needed to be close to her target. In her last life, Daisy had been a police officer. Young, brilliant, respected. She was fearless, but not careless. Her badge meant something. She fought hard for justice, for victims who had no voice. But what she carried closest to her heart was not just the job, it was her twin sister. Their connection was impossible to explain. They didn't need words, they just knew each other. When one cried, the other felt it. When one laughed, the other's heart felt lighter. They had grown up like that, inseparable, protective of each other in a way no one else understood. That was why the end of her last life broke something deep. She had been chasing a man when she got into the accident, a dangerous one. The kind of criminal that left no trail, only damage. He had hurt people, killed, lied, hidden behind money and fake smiles. But what made it personal wasn't just his crimes. It was what he did to Daisy's sister. The night Daisy died, she wasn't just doing her job. She was trying to stop him before he could finish what he started. Her sister ended up in a coma. Daisy ended up dead, and that man walked free. So when she woke up in the waiting room, the pain came with her. Not the kind that could be seen, but the kind that pressed on the soul. Other returners were already choosing new families, wealthy homes in Canada, peaceful islands, a quiet life in Switzerland, anything far from the chaos of their old lives. But Daisy waited. She didn't speak to the others. She didn't float around watching humans like they did. She stayed still, eyes locked on a single screen. A man's face, the same one who destroyed her world. He was alive. He still lived in the same city. He still passed the same streets where Daisy used to patrol. He still smiled like he owned the world. And that was what burned the most. And that was when Daisy made her choice. She didn't want to watch him. She wanted proximity. No one in the waiting room knew what Daisy was planning, except the Alpha who was in charge of assigning lives to souls. When her choice finally lit up on the board, a few souls nearby turned their heads in surprise. It wasn't a peaceful country or a quiet life. It wasn't a struggling family in need of healing. She had chosen a powerful household, one with wealth, status, and a long shadow over its name. Whispers spread quickly. Some guessed she was chasing influence. Others thought maybe she wanted to test herself by living among people who had everything, but still left a trail of emptiness behind. A few even wondered if she planned to take them down from the inside. But Daisy said nothing. She just stood there, watching the screen, steady as stone. And, whatever the truth was, she carried it alone. She was going back. Not just as a cop with a gun, yet helpless, but with something stronger. Power. She believed the memory of her sister, her laugh, her kindness, her dreams, would be enough to keep the mission alive in her heart. Even after forgetting everything, even after being born again. She knew the rules. After birth, souls forget who they were, forget the waiting room, forget the pain. But Daisy had planted something inside herself by choosing to pay a price. What Gay possessed was something deeper than memory, something not even rebirth could wash away. The closer it got to her turn to fall back into the world, the quieter the other souls became around her because she was the stranger's soul. Even they could feel it. This wasn't a normal reincarnation. There was weight in it, something unspoken but sharp. She was ready to do anything to bring the man down. Finally, her name was called. She looked at the screen one last time and she saw the man. And then she let herself fall back to the world. Would she succeed? No one knew yet. Not even Daisy.